Can you hear me now? So what happened to the video indexer?
Video indexer. Okay, I'm not again.
So if you could help with that, that would be good. And I'm starting the recording now. Great. If you could help with that, that would be good. And I'm starting the recording. All right, so
Albina, do you want to check in on that time during when Jay is doing the recording? So you can check in on the time. Albina.
Okay. 5.5.
5.
Happy to join the session. I've been working on invoice tabulation. Weekly checking. Okay.
great. Okay, so is there anyone else who messaged us? I guess we have Lucy, Teresa, Abdul messaged not too long ago. We could add him, but he's still not involved. All right. Cool. So I think we're good on our group. So from there we have strikes. So let's go through our strikes real quick. All right. So here, wait, what's this? So this is full moon. For some reason, it has everything from last time, which is odd. So I'm assuming these are our cumulative strikes. So Albina has no strike. Abdul said he wasn't coming, so that's correct. Zeus here, no strike. Lucy is supposed to be here, but she's supposed to be late, so we're gonna wait on that one. I'm here. Teresa said she's gonna be here, but she's late. And then Zonat and Mamoon have strikes, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So I think that's it for the strikes.
Yes. New world.
Let me do for the world.
Okay, let's know if you have any questions. So we still need to get Lucy and Teresa.
Lucy message, she will be a little late.
Yeah, Lucy message. All what Jessica, Joseph, and Steve, all of them have strikes.
Well, so when we figure out if they're late, we'll know whether or not they get a strike. All right. So I think we're fine on that. So let's go on. So the next step here would be rankings and tokens, but we're we're not doing rankings or tokens yet, and so those, as usual, go into our next steps. Hopefully we'll get them addressed sooner than later. All right. Anything? So any other questions on all of that? So now we're going to evaluations and prioritization. So again, I don't think we did our priorities for the new moon.
No, we didn't set the goals for the new moon current month. Just created yesterday a separate tab for that, but
Okay.
we didn't still voted on that.
So I think we can go ahead and vote on both our internal and our goals because we didn't do that for the new moon. And then also, of course, do a weekly check-in, okay?
Yes.
Okay.
And I think I might have a few new, I don't know if they're new. Let's see. What I have soft stop, hard stop coordination, client deadlines. That's important. And then also I have some, well, that's not really that important. My machine is loading very slow. That's what Lucy said. So I only have one new item I'm going to add on here, which is for client deadlines. My computer's not working very well, so I'm not really able to get these things updated for this prioritization spreadsheet. Are you guys able to do that?
Just seconds are not clear.
I was just trying to copy and paste Albina and Lucy into the column H and I, but it's like I can't even get anything working. It's like not working.
Hello, guys.
Oh, look, Lucy made it.
Hey, Lucy.
You want to check in?
It's just frustrating me. It's taking long to float.
Yeah, I'm having problems as well. So nobody copied in Lucy.
Lucy's already there. I don't know where I'm saying it already. Is it there? Can I have a doc?
You need to reload. I already typed listen.
Thank you. you guys on global coaching prioritization?
Yeah, you can check in.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, you can check in if you'd like. And yeah, we're on prioritization right now. I'm gonna delete 47 because it's already there. Number 34.
Okay.
You guys need longer? Yeah, who's doing time?
I don't know who's at them.
If anyone else wants to help with time, that would be good.
I
Cool. And we also have video indexing that we need someone to help out with too.
okay.
So
Okay.
should we move on? Are you guys ready to move on, or I guess we could also do our goals. It's just your goals really quick.
I'm on the 61 goal. Voting on that.
Cool. So it looks like our priorities changed considerably. Lots of changes. Also, our backlog went way up, so we get a lot of stuff we can delete here. So basically, 36 to 47 can be cut and put in the backlog.
Okay. That's good. Client priority reporting is number 1. That's perfect. No, we need to.
One thing that's definitely not in the top 10 is our new moon goals and priorities. So we could just skip that.
Number 14.
What?
It is on number 14, new moon goals and priorities.
Yeah, so we could skip that. Or we could just leave our priorities and goals from last month the same as last month, you know? Perfectly fine.
Okay.
So anyways, I mean, I think we're ready to move on. Are you guys ready to move on?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so let's go to our desired outcomes. Anyone have any desired outcomes?
My desired outcome on recruitment, since Zulu was saying he's going to work on recruitment. We don't know up to now where he is. I think we need to review where we are on recruitment.
Okay,
What
review.
have been done so far.
Review
Yeah.
where we are on recruitment. Review where we are on recruitment. Cool. Okay. Any other desired outcomes?
Yes, also still on reviewing also on client invoice.
How about learn more about client invoicing?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Learning and reviewing is solid.
And that's our number 1 priority, so that's good. Wait, what happened? Okay. I would say also I had 1 or 2. So for me, I want to start tracking our client deadlines and then also our soft stop, hard stop coordination. So basically move forward with soft/hard stop coordination and then also begin tracking client deadlines. Cool. Anything else?
And co-chair election department.
Okay, if you have the results for the co-chair elections, you can just let us know.
Yes, we have.
Cool. So
We also have to discuss on next month's budget, maybe, because invoice tabulation is ready. We know the amount of client work we have from the previous month.
cool. Okay, so I think we have a lot of desired outcomes, so let's jump in. So our topics, I think everything's pretty much covered in our top priority topics. We've got client work reporting and invoicing, budgeting for 2 and 3, recruitment, client deadline, soft hard stop coordination, client work priorities and coordination, client relations and invoicing, elections, team, and network equity. So I mean, basically everything's covered here. Is there anything missing? Cool. So I think we are.
I think for now this is good for the meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, so let's go ahead and go on to the. So, is there any objections to our desired outcomes and focus and topics for the meeting?
No.
All right. So let's say we have agreement there. Evaluations and parts are done. Topic of the agreement. Check. All right, so our schedule. So at the bottom of the hour, we're supposed to do our 30-second stretch. So let's all do that right now. We're gonna do like stand up and stretch real quick.
Can we stretch now? We have 2 more minutes.
Yeah, let's do it right now. So everyone stand up and stretch.
Okay. Lucy, you didn't check in.
Oh, yeah, let's have Lucy check in. Lucy, you can check in whenever you're ready.
Okay. Thank you. I'm at 6 left. I've been focusing on on work coordination. Curriculum service coordination. Looking forward to learn more on client invoice. Thank you.
Okay.
Cool. Okay, thanks, Lucy. All right, so at the top of the hour, we want to take a 5-minute break. I'm assuming our meeting's probably going to last like a couple hours, so maybe we should do wrap up. Let me know if anyone needs to leave, but if it's right now, if it's 11:30.
11:30, yes.
That would be like 1 a.m. Or 1 o'clock America's time. Be the wrap up, hopefully. So it gives us 1.5 hours. Do you think that's long enough? Do you think that makes sense? Do people need to leave before then?
Yes, it makes sense.
So we want to finish checkouts by 2. So that would give us 3 hours total. All right, so let's just see what we can do. So the 3rd 8th moon's on Monday. Cobalt main sessions on Wednesday. Mercury Perillion's on Thursday, so this is a big one, which is exciting. Also, we have a new hard stop for the Mercury session. Every manager is required to do reporting, or they go on hard stop, just like every worker is required to do weekly check-ins. But only managers are required to do that, so we need to know who's a manager and who's not a manager. Dynamic sessions on Thursday. And then we have last quarter moon and new moon in December. All right. So any questions on the schedule coming up?
No.
Cool. And eventually we would want to have like a link to the longer term planetary schedule. We just need to continue to get more organized there. So this would be a responsibility. So planetary schedule updating. So we actually have a public viewable document for our planetary schedule. So we've never done that before, but it exists. We just don't use it. So hopefully we'll get to that. And this would be a responsibility and can be organized as such. All right. Anything else on the schedule? So let's go on to proposals. I have 3 proposals. Does anyone else have any proposals? Anyone else have any proposals? None? No other proposals? Okay, so one proposal is a new time.
I don't know. Can I bring my proposal here?
If you want to, or you can wait. You can make a proposal.
I can wait up to the next session, right?
Yeah, you don't have to do any proposal. It's proposals are and you can make a proposal anytime. So if you want to make it during an agenda item, that's fine as well. So the proposal section is just for proposals that already exist, that we want to just make sure are documented so that they can be voted on by form, even if we don't have time to go over them. Also, typically we review previous proposals. So I think we had previous proposals to certify. You know, so I don't know if somebody wants to bring those up and link that here. This would be the time to do it. So
okay.
Yeah, so you can link that while I go through my new proposals, okay? So one is the new time-based budgets. So current budgets are owners' budgets, and we have you know, loss budgets for the global budget. So the proposal is basically that we would add a time-based budget. This would be the new lowest form of budget and would include workers who do not work all of their hours. So the goal is to get 100% plus hours. So that's the proposal for the budgets. The next one, automatic strategic grants proposal. So this one's pretty cool. It's also not particularly applicable or related to anything that we're doing currently. So the proposal is basically proposal automatically creates strategic branches for external issues and conflicts that become internal to the FQN community network. So basically what this would do is, like, let's say we started working with, Palestinians and Israelis, and they came and got involved in the FQN community network, and conflict started arising from an external conflict, and then it comes in internally to the FQN community network, that it would automatically create separate strategic branches, which would organize the conflict and make sure that it's all addressed in the proper manner. Another example could be if someone had a conflict with me, or someone had a conflict with Lucy, or some other issue was going on, and if it came into the organization, it would automatically create strategic branches so that it could be addressed appropriately, as opposed to completely tying everything up. So hopefully that makes sense. The last one is minimum hours per internal client. We want to make sure this is, this will be per month's budget. So I want to make sure we have a clear policy on this. As an example, if it was 1 hour, it would be 1 hour times, basically we have, 5x, right? So that would be, if it's $4 an hour, you're looking at $20 per month. So depending on how many hours we'd want the minimum was 5 hours, it'd be 100, right? So the question is, what is the minimum number of hours per month for a client to be in the budget? So question mark, what is the minimum number of hours per month that a client can be in the budget? So it's technically a straw poll right now. So it'd be like, 0.25 hours, 0.5 hours, 1 hour, 2 hours, etc. Okay?
Yeah.
And we can decide on that. And let me just put the example here. So currently we have some clients that I think are only like $25, for some of our session support and things like that. So if we did 5x times 2 hours, if it was $2, it would be $30. So it was 1 hour times $2 per hour times 5x would equal $30. So I'm just giving you an example here. If we said, like, 1 hour is not enough, it needs to be 5 hours. times $3 per hour times 5x. 3 times 5 times 5 would be 75. So it just depends on how we want to organize that. But I think it's going to be really helpful to have agreement on that so that when we see it on our budget, it's clear. So those are the proposals. This one can happen during the budget, but I think the other two can just happen. I guess we might be able to get to this in the budget as well, but I think it's fine for them just to be in a voting form and people can vote on them. Any questions about the 3 proposals that I have? And I'm going to add these to the proposals doc as well. Okay, so Lucy, you want to take us through the voting from last time? Albina, do you want to take us through the voting from last time?
Okay. Let me share the screen.
No.
But we are there. Okay. Responding. Sorry, my laptop is not responding.
Okay, I'll see if I can get into it as well.
I'm also checking if I can get in.
It's just there. I just clicked the spreadsheet that I'm working for.
Where?
Oh.
All right, so proposals that everyone So the first proposal for everyone should be doing something related to payroll. Looks like it passed, so that would be part of payroll. I don't think payroll is in our priorities though. So I'm still not sure what that even means. So I mean, obviously we need to talk about it more for what that would mean in terms of implementation.
That one not pass. Everyone is like 6.7.
Yeah, the average is 6.
Barely.
Okay, so it barely passed.
Verified.
All right, so proposal to approve Albina's back pay. So, I mean, I think this passes pretty clearly. So we have Albina's back pay for $200. It passes with a 7.66. So we can just give that a green. And I think that was it, right? Which is the 2. And it looks like 200 is definitely still the top choice there. So I mean, this proposal for the payroll is fine. I still just don't understand it. If anyone wants to clarify it real quick, that might be helpful. Otherwise, you know, we just need to review it again and understand what it means so that we can create a policy around it. Everyone should be responsible for payroll. Check on how far we are on payroll instead of waiting to be paid. As long as they are on the budget, you must be responsible. Responsible for what, right? That's the main question. Responsible for what?
Responsible for checking how far his payroll is gone and reminding on. It's not a must they should work there. They can be also active on checking, reminding, doing the which if they can do the reminders. Even someone who is not working there can know how far we now. It's going to be well when all of us know the effect payroll. They can do the reminder. Are we set up okay? for the next accounting. That's what I mean.
So how do we implement that? How would it change our processes? How would we actually implement it?
I don't know. Maybe we can just figure out anyway. Maybe for now,
Okay,
let's just leave it that way.
I mean, what I would call this is I would call it a guideline. Right? So guidelines are policies. The difference between a guideline and a protocol, do you guys know the difference between a guideline and a protocol?
No, for me, I don't know.
So policies include guidelines and protocols, et cetera, et cetera. There's more than just guidelines and protocols, but they definitely include both guidelines and protocols. Guidelines are optional, and everyone is encouraged to follow best practices based on guidelines, but are not required to, right? Protocols are mandatory. You must follow them, or there's like a hard stop, or you can't work, etc., right? So the protocols are not optional, but mandatory. You have to follow the protocols, whereas guidelines you don't have to follow. It's like best practices, right? So with this one, we can tell everybody that they should be responsible for payroll, and they should all be reminding people to do it. But if they don't do that, there's no enforceable mechanism for who, how, or when it would be mandatory and how people would, not be allowed to work if they didn't do it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So I would say that this is a guideline, and then we can implement it immediately as a guideline. And then over time, as we learn more about it, we could create certain protocols that will support the guideline. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, cool. All right. Any other proposals or questions about any of these proposals? So you'd want to add to the payroll policies doc. Okay, that would be a task.
Okay.
Also, guidelines don't need as much, like to pass a guideline, it's not as big of a deal, right? Whereas passing a protocol, it's like, if the work doesn't get done, people, don't get paid, or don't, yeah. All right, so let's move on. I think we are ready to go to our first topic, right?
Yes.
So we're done with that. All right. So the first topic is going over 1 minute on each priority. So let's do 1 minute on each priority, and then we should be ready to go into our first break. All right, client work reporting and invoicing. Have we talked about this before? Let's find out. And who's timekeeper right now? Who's timekeeper? I think this is the first time we've gone over client work reporting. So remember, it's either 1 minute for each of these. And this is going to be a 4, and this one here is going to be 5. I mean, that's 3. External client billing. So there's 3 types of invoicing. There is our normal internal invoicing, and then there's our UMBUS client invoicing. I guess this would be our normal internal super team invoicing. Our Umbus client invoicing is basically the same thing, but it's good to note that there is another level of invoicing that can happen there. And then we have our external client invoicing. And we're going to want to go over the different components of invoicing. So there is a work report for each client. So each client has a work report. This also relates to the client manager. Every client has a manager.
1 minute over.
Well, we'll be at time, actually, I would hope. And then there's also the community project area distribution and the actual client invoice and back pay. Sometimes we have a client back pay invoice as well. And sometimes we even have client equity. Equity or ownership. So those are the different types of client reporting and invoicing that need to happen. There's one other detail here, which is before all of this, we could do like some internal calculations and spreadsheets on time. And then we want to do this for mission within right now is soft hard stop. I can't remember the deadline, but it's coming up soon. Can you remember the deadline for that? All right. Any questions or additions to client work reporting?
Yes, where are we getting the client work report? From your work?
We have to create it.
One or for each client with its own client work, with each client with work report, or just one for all of them?
Each individual client has its own work report. So just like each individual worker has their own work report, each individual client will have its own work report for all the work that we do for each client.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So, and these are external clients, right? For the external clients. All right. So now we're going into the other budget priorities. I don't believe we had this one. Oh no, we have it right here at the top. Other budget priorities. So the other budget priorities is everything that is not our budget for next month. So the new budget proposals, all this would not be part of other budget priorities because it is part of next month's budget. Proposal for Albina, check, did that. Review budget prioritization spreadsheet. So here's the budget prioritization spreadsheet that we need to go through. We have super team budgets, addressing back pay and other proposals in the budget. Addressing back pay and other proposals in the budget. I think that's fine. Also, we have holiday bonus pay. Now, are we going to do that? Yeah. We still don't have a proposal for that. Training 5 set client budget for pools. That is also important. These are the 5 budget pools that are always highlighted that we don't get in our budget. Budget coordination management. Abdul was doing it, but he's not doing it anymore. Update main budget teams, ranked budgets, spreadsheet results. This is all part of the normal budget process. This we already mentioned. Is met other, not there. Super team budgets, already talked about that. Remove people from various Skype groups, done. Update module card. Okay, so that's all updated. So can you update that one too, Celia? Anything else for the budget? Other budget options? Okay, so the most important thing is obviously the budget prioritization spreadsheet, which we'll go through in detail. Okay, anything else on the other budget options? Okay, so now we're just gonna go through our budget for next month. So the reason we're creating these as separate items is because there's just so much that goes into the budget for the next month that then we get overloaded with all the other budget priorities. So we have them as two separate items. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So what we need to go through is obviously our invoicing, and we can also note that up here as well. Super team invoicing.
Okay.
Super team invoicing, and then we've got our new budget proposals. And then we have our voting and actual updated main budget. Oh, this is the old one. So we need to create new updated. And then we're gonna have a new vote proposal. Okay. Anything else for the budget? I believe you said something about $560 total.
Yes.
Team budget.
$560.
And this will be the first month that we're doing our super team budget. So super team budgets are required. Also, it's good to note from the last super team budget, there was something like a negative 300 something or other. I don't even know. It was something ridiculous. But you're going to have to address that as well. Okay. Anything else for the budget? Okay, let's go on. Next one is recruitment. And can we confirm that all these things are getting added or updated in our lists? So all this needs to be updated. Let me just do it just to make sure it gets done because Zilu disappeared and he was supposed to do it. Right,
Sorry.
so all this can get redone. So, perfect. Okay. Next is recruitment. Top priority, need to get our recruitment organized and make a plan so we're working as a team. Okay, that would be great, wouldn't it? Plan for moving forward, that is all new hires. First responsibility priority will be to work on the next recruitment outreach round. New recruits, help recruit the next round of recruitment, training people when they first are hired, most recent budget additions. Okay, so Vanessa and Mamoon obviously are not doing much on recruitment, but maybe they will, it's possible. Soft stop. So the soft stop date for this, does anyone remember? I think we're already on soft stop or something.
Lucy, on recruitment.
So we have the new independent recruitment team, which is part of the super staff system. Invite any potential recruits to help with the recruitment process.
Oh, sorry, I did not realize that I was. We are on recruitment for, I think, service stop. Let me confirm 1 second.
Cool. So I think this has already started. So we know that hard stop is January 1st. Right? Hard stop is equal to January 1st. So we know we have at least a month to get the recruitment completed. The invitations for potential new recruits to be part of the independent recruitment team I sent out today. So this has certainly started. Review old and new processes, steps, and systems. This is all started as well and is pretty good. Currently, we have no one working on recruitment. Zilu is interested. People interested but not active is Zilu. Okay.
Yeah.
What else? So, creating new email lists, which has started, and we're doing major updates to the main buddy team, communications and processes. So, yeah. missing currently is, you know, Upwork posting and more
A minute is over on that.
for volunteer work.
We are also still for recruitment, and those who are signed for that, Zilu and Mamun and everyone else, but are not active. I don't know whether there is something. Maybe Zilu, do you have any other update?
I just back. I lost my connection here. Oh, can you say again?
You said you are going to work on recruitment. Is there any other progress there?
No progress because we are on hard stop and I didn't focus yet.
Well, if you have questions about that deal, let me know. I just gave an update on everything going on with the recruitment, so you can, you know, watch that section in the video. Hopefully someone's doing the video indexing, and then also you can read the update, okay? All right, so yeah, we'll get to more of it later. Client deadlines. So for client deadlines, this is new. So we're just starting with the idea of client deadlines. This is kind of going to be the next part of soft/hard stop deadlines. So there's all of our own internal soft stop, hard stop deadlines, and then we have deadlines for clients. So let's quickly go over some deadlines for clients. For example, Mission Within, we have an initial Friday, this is tomorrow, deadline for draft 1023. Right, so this is a major deadline tomorrow. Only gave us a week. I'm not super worried about it, but you know, I probably need to put a couple of hours into that before tomorrow's meeting. Another example would be for Jay's support, right? Is that, you know, need to confirm doctor's appointment, right? So that's just, it's coming up at the end of November. I just need to do that. I don't know what it is, so that's important. And then there's also one in the beginning of December.
Tomorrow morning you are scheduled for that. It is Friday. You are scheduled for that.
Yeah, so check in with me, Zila. Hopefully we can make that happen. Other deadlines we would have, so, I mean, we could just go through the other various organizations. You know, so there's definitely more for Mission Within relating to the membership / task force. There's also the board meeting, which is the first Friday of every month. So this is monthly. From there, there's the Econaut partnership, which has a few deadlines coming up. And then there is Vienna. I mean, I don't know. We could think about what we're supposed to do with Vienna. And then, oh, there's New Earth. New Earth Nation. You know, so we need to do some check-in. So I'd say there's like some management management. There's some management deadlines and other work that could be done for that. In New Earth Nation, this brings up one component, which is that we need to create a staff decision-making space. This is very, very important. So I don't know. Oh, that would be a responsibility that someone could take on. Anyways, the point is that there's probably about 5 to 10 very important client deadlines that we don't want to forget about. I think that's it. So are there any questions or additions to that?
What about new corps?
The new what?
New corporation.
The new corporation. So we're going to take the new corporation and we're going to pop that into Econaut partnership as well. There actually, I guess, would be two. So I guess you could call some of these goals, right? So there is a goal for what's called the collaborator meeting with Mel that's going to be coming up. And this also would involve the Z corporation, Zero Corporation. So Econaut Partnership will be, creating a corporation for investment. So yeah, so there's at least two corporations, places for corporations to come in there. But I think we're going to go ahead and take it off of its own individual goal, okay?
Okay.
So it'll happen within the Econaut Partnership. It's going to happen within the Z Collaborative meeting. This is not a client, not a client. So this is just a goal. Do you guys understand the difference between a goal and a client? So I'll be working on the Zero Corporation within the Z Collaborator meeting with Mel, and then also creating a corporation for investment within the Econaut Partnership. So the Econaut Partnership is a client. So if people want to work for client work, you would want to focus on the Econaut Partnership, specifically the corporate part of that. But I've worked it out so that technically speaking, the corporation can be made in January or in 2019 and we'll still be okay. So I got that off of our list for the end of the year, which is going to be really good. It'll help reduce our workload, okay? All right, so let's move on. Soft stop, hard stop. How many do we have left here? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Who's timekeeper?
I'm doing
So just remember, it's 1 minute each. So you want to give us a 1 minute warning, 30 seconds over, 1 minute over. So it's like, yeah, as many as you want. You can do 30 seconds left, time's up, 30 seconds over, 1 minute over, 2 minutes
and also
over.
we are on the top of the hour.
We are on the top of the hour.
You guys want to stop?
But
or
we
do you
can
wanna...
just review them after the review. We can go for a break.
So should we finish this up? It's just taking a lot longer because our timekeeping is not going very well. So you guys want to continue or not?
You continue, then we after the review we go for a break.
Okay. All right. So the soft stop, hard stop coordination should be in here. There it is. So I feel like some of this should get cut down. So the most important thing is that we are almost out of Global Team Hard Stop. Almost out of Global Team Hard Stop on this. Okay, so what we need to do to get out of Hard Stop is we need to finalize calculations. Update the doc, priorities doc for all workers, and then we need to send out announcement. But the status is complete. So status is complete. So thank you all for working on that. I mean, it was a lot of work. It took us like at least a week or two, if not a month or two. But we finally got through it.
To that.
Say what?
30 seconds into that, 30 more seconds.
Oh, perfect.
Remaining.
All right. So I think that's pretty much it.
I have a question before you continue, Jayon. Update the priorities doc for all workers. What does that mean?
So right now we are on soft stop hard SSHS hard stop priority stop, right? So when we get off this, the question is, what is the next hard stop that we're going to be on? So we need to find out what the next hard stop is. For example, if it's AC hard stop, a cumulative hard stop, then we would use the accumulative hard stop priority stock. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that one is going to be when calculation is done, everything should be updated on accumulative.
Well, that's not necessarily true. That's not necessarily true because it depends on what the next hard stop is. If the next hard stop was a budget hard stop, then it would be budget hard stop. If the next hard stop is, we have at least 2 or 3 hard stops going on right now that we need to consider. Okay?
A minute is over.
All right.
Yeah, but what if we have a hard stop that more than we have budget? Let's say example budget, payroll.
So
So
budget
which one are
budget
you-
hard stop would supersede AC hard stop. So it just depends on which hard stop it is and what level it is or tier, which would supersede other hard stops, right? So whatever the highest level hard stop is would be the hard stop that we're on. Okay.
Okay.
So we need to go through and find that out. So currently we're still on SSHS hard stop. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So we're still on this hard stop until we update the priorities doc, we finalize the calculations, and actually send out the announcements. All right. So to get off of SSHS hard stop, we need to know and find out what the next hard stop is and what the priority doc will be and make sure that's updated. Or we can't get off of it. Does that make sense? All right. Does everyone understand that we're still on SSHS hard stop?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So payroll, we finished that. Lucy's on hard stop. So this is all announcement on cumulative hard stop. So let's just leave this here. But the main thing is that it's not just Lucy, it's everybody. And here's all the information that needs to get completed. Create policy doc for
2
hard
minutes
stop,
into
soft
that.
stop. Did anyone ever create the policy doc for hard stop, soft stop? No, no one ever did that?
I think we have somewhere. I don't. If I'm not wrong.
Okay, so we need to double check on this. Double check on this. Everything should have a policy doc if it's the main thing. All right, so I think we're good on this. I'm gonna copy this for you, Zulu, and oh wait, did you already do it? Where'd it go? Okay, Zulu, can you just make sure that's copied and pasted into our doc? Oh, here it is, right here.
Yeah.
Policy stock and stuff. We have it. Yeah.
All right, so can you make sure that gets linked to our docs there so that we have it in our list?
Yeah.
And make sure it gets updated.
Yeah,
It should be in our-
just highlight it.
All right, client work priorities and coordination. Let's go through that. Where is that? Client work priorities and coordination.
I don't think we have it.
So client work coordination, supposedly it's Joseph and Abdul, although they're not doing anything, so that's not too surprising. So we need a position doc, client work priorities spreadsheet. We have the client work priorities spreadsheet. A few updates we need to add to this. We have a couple new budgets. There is, I want the F&F budget. Maybe we do start with like $50. And there was one other budget we were gonna do, but I think we added the other ones. Question, did we add Econaut partnership? Did we add house support? So we wanna make sure those are all added. Link client priorities doc. Update the client priorities doc. So, sometimes I feel like we link these things, but then we don't copy and paste it into our priorities doc, so we're losing them.
30 seconds are over.
So this isn't particularly organized, but whatever. And we all understand that client work is a subcategory of all of our worker coordination. So anything else to add to client work priorities coordination? So I would say
I just link the policy for service to stuff where you highlighted yellow. You can check.
okay, can you just make sure it gets copied into a priorities planning doc?
Yeah.
So, for the client work priorities, we just need to get organized on this. We need a manager to step up. Obviously, Abdul and Joseph aren't really doing anything, so this comes back to recruitment. We should probably recruit. All right, so we're almost done here. I think we have 2 left. We have client relations and invoicing, elections co-chair. Hopefully, Zila, you're ready to do the elections co-chair stuff. All right, so the next one is client relations and invoicing. So the difference between client, so let's just go over all three right now real quick. So we have client coordination, which is coordinating client work. We've got client invoicing, which is, asking for money, basically, right? Asking for money after we do the work. And then there's client relations. So client relations comes from before we do work and doing what's called proposals and agreements. So proposals and agreements are really important. This is how we get work. Okay?
We have client relations in our priorities doc.
All right, let's take a look at that real quick.
Just leave that.
Client relations and invoicing. Cool, perfect. So, oh no, but I want this to go on the top.
Oh yeah.
So basically, for external, so Zeely, when you say 1 minute over, do you mean we're at 2 minutes? You keep saying 1 minute over. Does that mean we're at 2 minutes? Zeely?
Yes, just 1 minute on that.
Minute is up.
Okay, so that would be time is up. It wouldn't be 1 minute over. Do you see the difference?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so you say 30 seconds left, time is up, 30 seconds over, 1 minute over, 2 minutes over. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yes.
Cool. All right, so external client invoicing, soft hard stop priority. So this is, we're going to be working on this as its own priority. But there's also new client agreements for all the new potential clients that we could get. And then also we have the accounts receivable. This needs to be a hard stop, soft stop. Make sure this gets to hard stop, soft stop. So can you do that, Lucy? If it's not already there, we need to make sure we have accounts receivable. Tabling,
we left Lucy.
Setup,
Lucy left.
Budget. I think we already have this in the budget. I think we already did that. Oh, this is client work considering changing. So we already changed the 5X, real-time updates for our client work calculations. All right, so client relations is kind of like the umbrella, and then the next part above that, above client relations, would be investor relations, okay? Because we want to turn all of our clients into investors. So I think that's done on there. Elections, Zelu, want to do elections?
Yes. And this is the result.
Do you have the from before, from previous? So you would want to have the current status for co-chairs, right? So I believe Albina is has 1 month left. And
yeah.
Who are the other two?
Abdul and Jessica.
What's up?
Abdul 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
But they are doing nothing actually.
I understand.
Then
Jessica is done, right?
Stepping down. Yeah, done.
So this would be to replace Jessica, and so Zelu, you would be next.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the winner would be Zelu for that would be 1.5 months.
Yeah.
So Zelu, do you want to take the position?
Yes, I want.
Okay. And remember, a co-chair comes with bonus and everything. So if people want to step up and do the work, you can get bonuses and stuff. So Jessica is no longer co-chair, but we can thank her for being willing to give it a try for a couple weeks. So that's good.
Yeah.
Coolio. All right. So when it says James, what does that mean, James?
I don't know why still James
is that James McDonald?
James is your main budgeting partner.
Okay, can you just make sure it's James McDonald, because we have two Jameses. We have James McDonald, who's
okay. What is the full name?
You can just put McDonald, MCD, McDonald, MCD is fine.
MCD, okay.
Yeah. All right. So that helps have clarity there. All right. I think we're done with the co-chair election. See how easy it is if we just do the work. All right. So team and network equity. Oh my gosh, you guys have no idea how badly I want to get this going and updated. I don't think we've ever talked about this before.
No.
So we talked about token distributions.
No.
Yeah, we did.
We did.
So
Okay.
token distributions is related to this. So you have part of the membership and client work. It's part of our we need a plan of how we're going to coordinate all of this. And we need to focus on the upcoming half year. All tokens, equity models, everything is based on half years. So we need to, so that's going to be a responsibility. We need to review and confirm the selling half year. So that's something that we want you to work on, Zilu. Can you do that? So this is basically just like a verification that we have the correct selling half year. So do you guys remember that there's three types of network equity? There is the team equity, there's the network equity, and business equity, team equity, network equity, business equity. I don't know. I'm sort of spacing right now, but I think that'll have to do. So we're going to want to start tracking all of our time and equity and distributing tokens and distributing value all up front at the beginning. And this is
45 seconds on that.
This is all client work. So the problem here is recruitment. You need to recruit more people and train them on how to do all this, because there's really not much more important than this, because I don't know, when we do it, you'll understand. And when we don't do it, it's really hard to explain. But it's like, it's the difference between being existing and not existing, right? I don't know how to explain it. Because if we're not distributing equity, then there is nothing. Like our entire system is based on collaborative, cooperative ownership. That's what we're building, a whole new economic model based on collaborative, cooperative ownership. And so therefore, if we don't distribute the ownership and the equity and the value throughout the community, then we are missing the whole point. And people won't understand what's going on. And then it's just a job, right? You're just here to work, right? Which is not the point of anything.
A minute is over on that.
So hopefully we can get this done with our upcoming half year. And so that starts with Zilu doing that. So I think we're ready let's take a 5 to 10 minute break, and then we can come back and jump more into detail on what's our first topic? Client work reporting.
Client work reporting and invoicing.
Yeah. Okay, 5-minute break.
Sure.
We also lost Lucy.
Okay.
I'm back.
Also back.
Okay, I'm back.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so our first topic is client work reporting and invoicing. So let's just start with just the internal calculations and the client work report. So also we're going to be wanting to index all of this somewhere. Client, external client invoicing, is this the doc? Let's see.
Was prepared for mission within and others as well. The track of mission within works for other workers still remaining of use.
Client invoicing billing doc. Okay, I think that's fine. So just make sure to index this all in the client, external client invoicing doc.
Okay.
And you might want to update the name to external client so that it's clear. Internal calculations and spreadsheet, unless it is, just make sure, eventually we might want both. I'm sure it's fine. Okay, so it would be good to note when the soft stop or hard stop deadline is. So that's a task. This would technically be a client deadline.
Last December hopefully is the deadline for hard stop, and 15th November was the soft stop.
Okay, so that's coming up soon. I didn't get that, but I think you said December 7th for hard stop.
I saw 1st December. Okay.
So we're just going to focus on mission within. We want to, list all workers who are actively doing or who have done work. Who've worked on the client. And then we're going to need to link their work reports, et cetera, et cetera. So obviously I do the most work, and this is where client work reports are very different than normal payroll. So Jay's work report / master notes. You're going to need to use my work report master notes to be calculating all the work that I'm doing for the client as well.
Your work report switched to Xeracon, and I don't have access on that.
Anyone should have access to it if you just have the link. So this is the one. It doesn't have the dates, but this would be from 116 moon month to 61 west moon month, right? So it's all here. So I'll just link this right now. So the other thing that we want to get is the mission. Let me just go in here. So this would be mission within. No. So I go to client relations, mission within, proposal options, pay model calculations, simple hourly client time calculations. Okay. So this is what I'm calling the simple hourly client time calculations. This is this is what we're going to framework as our internal calculation. So this is kind of like this is sort of like pre-invoice, pre-client work report, pre-client invoice, but still very, very important. So the goal is the most important thing, right? It's understanding the goal. So let's go over the goal. And let me make sure I link the spreadsheet. So the goal, again, is very, very important. This would be its own responsibility. The goal is to do a quick calculation on value and time in relation to external client work and invoicing / income. So the primary calculation is simply like, number of hours divided by amount paid. Therefore, we can easily and quickly show the client our value. So even though there's not an invoice, even though there's not, like, it's not detailed and it's not explaining exactly what we're doing, at least it has the calculation. So let me give you a quick example. So for October, so right now we only want to do October. Let me make sure it's really, really clear, right? So for now, only do October. Okay? So this is really important. You guys understand that? We only want to do October? What? It's just not accessible?
No.
Okay, I can fix that.
There is JAS / master.
It says anyone with a link can edit.
No, this is not. This is the spreadsheet. I have the access on that, but I don't have access on the JAS work report / master notes, the document that you linked here.
Okay, so what's the problem with that?
Under the client, yeah, this is.
Anyone with the link can view.
No.
You can't view it?
No. Right now it is viewable. Okay, I just reload it. Now it's okay.
Okay, yeah, it should be viewable. But I don't, unless there's a specific reason to edit it, there's no, I mean, there should be no reason to edit it. If you need to edit it, just let me know or make a comment. I think we can make it commentable. Let me see.
Oh, yeah, sure.
We can make a comment there.
We are 5 minutes into the topic, 10 more minutes.
Okay. Okay, so going back to the primary responsibility here, the goal is a quick calculation to know what is the basic amount that of the value that we're doing, right? So basically it's an hourly value, et cetera, et cetera. So let me show you by example. So again, we're only focusing on October for now, but soon we'll be able to do November. So if you look at the October, it breaks down into 4 weeks. I'll give you more clarity on how we do the week-to-week breakdown, and then we'll do the entire month. Okay, so the reason we're focusing on October because we have an entire month that we can consider. Okay, so here's the first week. This is the amount that they paid us for the first week. Right, this is the general number of the range of number of hours, and this would be the general range for the cost at 5x. All right, because we're doing 5x. This is the actual number of hours worked, and this would be if you included all the hours in the calculation. This would be if you only included the coordinator hours, and this would be the actual hours at 5x. Okay? So I'm still not sure about the calculations because these are still wrong. So these calculations are still not correct. I don't know if I updated a different one. Yeah, 1.3 hours. Anyway, so we're gonna have to figure that out. So I'm not sure if this is right because it still seems kind of high to me. The $12, $11 an hour. It should be more like $5 or $6 an hour at the 5x. So we'll figure that out. But this, you can see, this basically shows us our minimum loss and our maximum loss. So this is how much money we're losing by doing this work. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Then if we're under, it would be a leftover budget that could be averaged out at the month level. Okay, so that's basically what we want to do is a quick calculation. The only thing that we need to show this calculation is column G. Everything else is automatically calculated. Okay? So all we have to do is just get the total number of hours worked per week, plug in the number of hours, done. Okay? So this is all that needs to be filled. And then even from that, it'll automatically do the entire month, although the calculation might be slightly different. Cool. All right. So I think that's pretty much it. Are there any questions about it? And then we have the different clients. So we have Mission Within, New Earth, Vienna. I think overall what we would end up having is probably having a separate spreadsheet for each client eventually. And then this would be the beginning of the work report, but the work report itself would be much more detailed. So the difference between this and a work report is this only has the number of hours. The work report would say exactly what we did for every hour that we worked. And then the work report gets linked to the invoice. And then the invoice will organize all of the actual billing for the actual money that's coming in. So this is basically the difference of us actually bringing in money and making money and growing and functioning as a business and not. Like, we've never done this before. Right? When we don't actually track the money, we lose our clients, they fire us, and we can't get new clients. Right? We're not going to get any new clients if we don't bill or invoice them. You guys understand?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is basically the foundation of actually getting paid. If we don't do this, no one gets paid. So this is kind of like payroll, except for the entire organization. Any other questions?
No question right now.
All right, so it doesn't look like anyone's taking notes for this, but that's not unexpected. So is anyone on this? We could update the soft stop, hard stop deadline. Also, who is working on it? And Mission Within has already told us, only for Mission Within. Mission Within has already told us that they will not be paying us any more money if we don't do this. Like, if we don't invoice them and show them the value of the work we're doing, they're not going to be paying us. Okay? And then we'll lose another client if we don't do this.
It will be done.
Cool. And over time, we'll get better and better at doing this, and we can train other people to do it for us, and it'll be super easy. We just need to do more recruitment and get the whole thing right. So anything else on this? Are we ready to move on?
Yes, we can move on.
Cool. All right. Budget. Other budget priorities. So there's a lot of budget stuff. So does anyone have questions about any of this? Like super team budgets, holiday bonus pay, budget coordination management, budget
I had a
prioritization?
spreadsheet for bonus calculation. Jay. Maybe you can check if it is okay.
Do you have that linked?
Yeah, I'm linking that.
All right, so let's take a look at our end of year bonuses. So has back pay. How much back pay do they have? Current month actual payment. Current month actual payment.
There's the 123.
25% bonus. Year-end bonus. So it looks like this and this are exactly the same.
Yeah, just the same.
Oh my goodness, I get bonus too. $800. Let's not forget me. Boom. So I feel like I have a problem with this, with column D.
Mm-hmm.
Because it implies that your bonus is based on the work that you're currently doing in the organization as opposed to the work that you did.
What is it supposed to be? Column D?
Well, so for example, Abdul, right? So you're saying that because in the current month of, last month or whatever, he only worked a few hours. So even though over the course of the year or two, he worked his butt off and did amazing work for us, just because he didn't do that much work last month, he only gets $1, right? So that, I think this is a little weird. So for me, I'm more concerned about column C. Do people have back pay? If they have back pay, they deserve to get a bonus. They don't have back pay, they don't deserve to get a bonus regardless. So I feel like the current actual payment is not as important as it would be, if anything, it would be the actual average payment over time, right? But overall, I mean, I think it'd be fine just to do the requested or the current budgeted. Like, what is the current actual budgeted amount? And see what the difference would be, because I feel like some of this isn't fair to people who otherwise would have, even though they didn't work that much last month, maybe they worked more than enough to get a fair bonus.
So that will be 25% of the current budget amount.
Also, here goes on it. Yeah, exactly. The current budgeted amount, which should be based on actual if we were doing it correctly, but for now we can just should be actual, but whatever. It's just the current budgeted amount. For example, for last month.
Okay.
Or for next month or whatever. Because I feel like this is not budgeted. This is payroll. This is actual payroll. I don't think that's the policy. I don't remember that being the policy. I remember the policy being the current budgeted amount, not the current payroll.
Okay.
And then if they're budgeted very high and they're not working, they're not going to get anything if they don't have back pay. But if they do have back pay, they would get something regardless of whether they're working a lot, which I think is fine for now. I mean, we're not completely. So anyways, there's only Abdul, Lucy, myself, Abdul, Lucy, Zilu, Albina, Joseph, and Stephen O. So these would be the only people who would be applicable for the bonus. And it looks like everyone's going to get their full bonus.
Mhm.
Yeah, see, this seems better. Like getting a $50 bonus check seems reasonable, that everybody would get about the same amount.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still a small amount overall, but I feel like it's better than nothing. Last year we did nothing, but primarily because we just didn't have anything, you know? I mean, we did have money last year, but we just weren't organized, and it was a big, huge mess, and we weren't getting the work done. We're actually getting the work done now, which is really good. So I think it makes sense that we would do it. So this would be an additional $481. The difference of this $481 and all of the other money that we've ever done is that this money would not be considered coming out of the next month's budget. Do you see the difference?
Yeah.
So basically the idea is that if you take out of your back pay and your normal, and just about the back pay proposal, it would be coming out of the next month's budget. But for holiday bonuses, because it's a separate policy proposal, it doesn't come out of the next month's budget because it's a bonus.
Yeah.
As opposed to a back pay or advance. All right, cool. So I think 481 seems fair and makes sense. Are there any other, I guess the only other thing we technically could put in here would be James. Donald, he's currently getting $300 a month. Not doing a lot of work, but helping. And so it would be a $75 bonus. I think that would be fair. Although he doesn't have any back pay, so he should get 0.
Okay.
Because there's no back pay. But it is 300. It's actually 160 times 2. 160 times 2 is 320. But I would say that it would be 0 because it doesn't really have any back pay. So the only way to do back pay would be to take it out of my back pay. I don't know if we want to deal with that for now, but whatever. All right, cool. So that's the proposal, $41.95. So the back proposal approved, $481.95 for holiday bonuses. I would say we probably would just send this at the end of the month.
Mm-hmm.
But you could send it out separately. Either way, it's fine. But the proposal is basically ready to go.
Okay.
The only difference that I could see happening at this point in time is that we technically could fire people. So technically, we could fire people before bonuses go out. So if people don't make it into the next budget, they could not get a bonus. I think that Abdul will be the only person who really is affected by that. So I wouldn't worry about it too much. I'm not that concerned about giving Abdul a $44 bonus for his holiday bonus. But anyways, I think it's going to help everybody, a little bit. It's not a lot. Hopefully in the future, we'll have bigger bonuses once we stabilize with our income and everything.
Yeah. Okay.
And just to kind of give people a reminder of what's been going on this year, like Bitcoin hit a new low. Again, 90% of all our money is Bitcoin and Ether. It went down to like in the 4,000s. We're overseeing dozens and dozens of Bitcoins, right? So it's like literally, a loss of like tens of thousands of dollars. It's insane. So we're still losing money on Bitcoin going down, and we attempted the canopy, but we've never ever dealt with it. So it's still difficult, right? We're still reeling in the difficulties of Bitcoin. The opposite, like if you could imagine Bitcoin going up all year instead of down, we would be in a totally different place, right? We would be rolling in money. Instead, we're losing endless gobs of money all the time, and it's like out of control. So I don't even know what to say about it. It just gives me anxiety. We just need to get organized get our shit together, hire more people, get all our financing systems together. And there's so much money that we could potentially prevent losses. Just preventing losses would help us substantially. But beyond that, we could actually take on more clients. We could actually invest our money well, actually be making money instead of losing it. And having a lot of money in Bitcoin is not the best thing in the world, right? So although we do have some money that's stabilized to keep us a little bit going, but overall we're not in good shape. All right, so I think we're done.
15 minutes.
Yeah.
So is there anything we can go over for the budget for next month? Or are there any other questions on the other budget priorities? Do you guys have any questions on super team budgets?
No.
All right, so we can just move on from the budget for next month?
Yeah.
Okay, no questions there. Let me just double check new budget proposals. Okay, cool. So just get our updated ranked budget going.
Yeah. I haven't started, but I will.
And then you just need to do the old world super team budget. All right, so next is recruitment. So Zilu, do you have
Which month are we next month? Is it?
So my understanding is that next moon month will be the new half year. So this is the beginning of the new year, as far as I know. The new half year, I mean. But I need Zilu to confirm that.
Yeah, this is the last month of this year, half year.
Okay, by how much?
This year will start from New Year.
In order to confirm it, I need to know the exact number of days and hours between the month, the solstice, and the new moon.
Okay.
So we need to see that calculation. So you just bring up the spreadsheet that has the new the half year calculations, and then it'll tell us exactly the number of days and hours between the new moon and the solstice, and so that we can compare. And it just, as long as we are using the smallest one, then it's verified. But we need to verify that. Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
But either way, we should know the moon month for next month. Moon month. What's the next moon month?
Just forgot. I'm going there.
If you could link it too, that'd be great.
71. I'm not confirmed, but I have to see again.
71 degree what?
Let me go there.
And this should be on our Selenine days link as well. Moon months for budget proposals. So it says 70 degrees east.
70.
But we just didn't.
70 degrees. Yes.
So we just need to verify whether it's the new half year or not. Does that help you? Does that help you, Albina?
Well, I should link it. Okay, this is the meridian. $70 degrees, 14 day and 50 hours, 2 minutes.
Very cool. You've been going to 2019. That's good. All right, so here we go. 70 degree east, 14 days, 15 hours, and this is 14 days, 5 hours. Wait, no, this is not right. We didn't do it correct at all. So see here, it says 15 days, 19 hours, 13 days, 12 hours. You have to calculate both of them so that you know the difference. So you can see here 14 days, 5 hours is extremely close. So we need to calculate this one here. So what's the difference between the solstice, which is the 21st of December, Friday 2222, and January 6th? And I think this is way closer. Okay, do you see the difference? See what I'm talking about?
Okay.
So you got to calculate that out because whichever one's closer would be, so this could be a leap month. So if you look here, the last time there was a leap month, they're supposed to happen every 2.5 years. So this is a leap month right here. And this was, no. So 1, 2, 3, 1. So this is 1 half year. This is 2 half years. 3 half years. Wait, so that'll be, yeah, about 2.5 years. So this could be another leap year right here. And you can also see the time frame here. So you start at 15 days, it goes down to 7 days, 2 days. So it goes all the way down to 2 days, then it goes up to 3 days, 7 days, 13 days, and then we get 14. and 14 should be the maximum, and then it would go down. So see here you have 18 days, 23 days, 25 days. These are all incorrect. Okay? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It can never, ever go below, above 15 days, 2 weeks. Because the calculation for the moon month is that it's for the solstices, it's whichever moon is closer to the solstice. That makes sense?
Yeah.
So you can't have it be more than 14 days because at that point, the other new moon will be closer and then you get a leap month. And that's how you calculate the leap months. So if we have a leap month, what'll happen is that you get an extra 7th month in the half year. It only happens once every 2.5 years about. And then it won't be the new year until January. And in this case, it'll be January 6th. So do you need me to show you how to do this calculation? Or
if it will be better, because it is leap year and wrong.
So do you need me to make the calculation for you or no? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. I wish you would have said that like 10 minutes ago. I would have just done it. So here you have the 21st of December, 12, 21, 18 at 2:22. Gonna work? Yeah, I think that's a date. Yeah, looks good. And then here you've got, is this a date? This is not a date. They're just gonna put it here. So we have January 6th, 19 at 01:28. And then we should be able to just delete them. So this would be equal to this minus that. 15.129 days. So usually I do this on a calculation spreadsheet instead of directly on it. But if you take this and you subtract 15 and multiply it by 24, you'll get the number of hours. 3.1 hours. 15 days, 3 hours, and 0.1 times 60 would be what? 6 minutes. And then this would be an L 15.12 or 13. Okay, do you see how that works or not? Can you guys hear me? Hello?
Yes.
So then you can tell that this one's closer. That make sense?
Yes, we can hear you.
So you can see how this one's closer, right?
Yes.
So then for each of these, for both the equinox and the solstice, you're going to do both. You're going to look at both dates to see which one's closer. Every single time until you find the leap month. Once you find it skips the month, then that's going to be the leap month, and it happens again once every 2.5 years. And so it's either going to be for the equinox, or it's going to be for the solstice, or the equinox. So somewhere there's going to be a leap month. All right, so I think we're done with all this stuff with the budget. Why don't we go ahead and wrap up and check out? We're ready to wrap up and check out?
Yes.
Or do we want to do a little bit more? Are there any other questions we need to go over?
Nope.
Okay. So let's just be sure to make sure we get someone doing the make sure someone doing the voting form, okay?
Okay.
All right, so let's go ahead and check out, and then I think we are done. Zulu, do you want to start? Can you guys even hear me? Computer is not happy. Hello?
Investor next month budget and do the voting form options for the budget. Thank you.
We're done. I'm going to wrap up. Today's Friday and holiday here.
Can you
Okay.
can you guys hear me
Yeah,
now?
yeah, yeah. Thank you so much.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes, please.
Hello? Hello?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can hear
Yes.
you. Do you?
I can kind of hear. Anyways, I thought the session was pretty good. I give it like a 6.5. And I'll be working on Mission Within, as well as some of the status and hard stop, soft stop updating, and also be working on a lot with the Economic Partnership and just moving everything forward. Thanks for being here. Good work. Oh, and also be working on recruitment. I'm definitely be doing a lot of recruitment because that is definitely one of our top priorities.
Okay.
All right. Bye.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye.
The middle of the night. Have a good night.
For sure. Yeah.
Okay.